November is nearly here, and of course, when there's a new month, there's new Nintendo Switch games to talk about, and the month of December is deceivingly deep when it comes to new Switch games. Today we're going to talk about 15 awesome Nintendo Switch games coming out in the month of November that you'll probably want to have on your calendar. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be sure to like and share the video, but without any further ado, let's get into 15 awesome games coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of November. The first game on the list is probably one of the most ambitious ports that we have seen thus far on the Nintendo Switch, and that is World War Z, which releases on November 2nd. Now, I originally played this game on my Xbox One, and I really enjoyed it. Yes, it's a zombie game where you team up with people and you take down waves of zombies, but there's something very satisfying about that gameplay if it's done right, and I definitely feel like World War Z is done right. There's lots of locales you go into, there's tons of zombies on screen, and I'm really interested in seeing how the Nintendo Switch not only handles all of the zombies on the screen, but the online of the game, because World War Z at its core is an online game where you team up with 3 other people and take down all of these zombies, accomplishing missions. This is definitely a game I have on my radar. Saber Interactive is working on it, and they're a very impressive port studio, so I'm really hopeful for this version of the game, and I will be checking out World War Z when it comes out on November 2nd. On November 3rd, we have an FMV game called Bloodshore coming out. Now, essentially what Bloodshore is, it's like a televised battle royale between streamers, entertainers, and death row inmates. You basically take control of a character named Nick, who's a washed up actor who fights for his life-changing prize of all of this money that you get if you win the show. Of course, not all is as it seems, and lots of weird things end up happening here. There's actually 8 hours of FMV footage, which is the most in any video game ever. Your decisions matter, as you'll have visual feedback, and of course relationships are tracked, which can influence the story, and there's several different outcomes to the story as well with branching paths. So I'm a sucker for FMV games. I really like them, so I probably will check out this game as well with the time I don't have. Bloodshore hits the Switch on November 3rd. Before we get into the next game on the list, I want to give a huge thank you to Satisfy and the new Zen Grip Pro 3 for sponsoring this video. The brand new Satisfy Zen Grip Pro 3 retains the same design of the classic Zen Grip models that everyone loves, and even works flawlessly with your brand new Nintendo Switch OLED model along with your standard Nintendo Switch. For when you're having long handheld gaming sessions, you'll still get that maximum comfort. With the true free float technology, your Nintendo Switch or Switch OLED won't get any scratches or damages from this grip, and there are no tools required to pull this bad boy on, as it slides right in and works great with your previous Satisfy accessories. Check out the link in the description box down below to get your Zen Grip Pro 3 in either a standalone or a bundle, and hell, you can even get a beat 'em ups design one if you want, although, I mean, let's admit it, an RGT one would look a lot better. Huge thank you to Satisfy for sponsoring this video. On November 4th, we have a 3D platformer called Demon Turf coming out, and well, I'm a sucker for 3D platformers, so I am very interested in this game. I really like the visual style of it, as it's kind of like 2D sprites on 3D atmospheres. I don't really know how that's going to work as far as actually playing the game, but I do think the visual style of it looks very nice. You play as a character named Beebs, and you're basically trying to take over the demon's turfs and become the demon queen herself. You jump, you spin, you punch your way across the turfs with unique mechanics, and there's momentum driven combat, self-placed checkpoints, and there is some tood in this game, as this is a 3D platformer with lots of callbacks to the classic platformers of the 90s. Demon Turf comes out on November 4th and might end up being a hidden gem. Also on November 4th, Just Dance 2022. I don't care about this game. I don't understand why these games sell so well. Who is buying these games over and over again just for new songs? But evidently some people are, so check it out on November 4th if you want to dance your ass off. Also on November 4th, one of my favorite Nintendo Wii games is coming to the Nintendo Switch with A Boy and His Blob. Now, this game has a really beautiful art style, and I'm very curious to see how this translates over to the Nintendo Switch, because that was really one of the highlights of the game. Basically, the game is sort of like a puzzle adventure game in which you use jelly beans on the blob in order to do different things. Different colored jelly beans will give the blob different abilities, and these abilities will allow you to progress through the level. It's a real fun game, it's a real sort of thinking game, and like I said, I really love the visuals in this game, so I'll be playing through it again when it comes out on the Nintendo Switch on November 4th. Now this one's kind of cheating, but I feel like it's a big enough DLC to be called like a new game, and that is on November 5th, Animal Crossing New Horizons Happy Home Paradise is coming out with that beautiful price point of $24.99 unless you get the Nintendo Switch Online service, and then it's included in that. Now this obviously is the conversation of a lot of debate right now, and rightfully so, but they are adding in a ton of stuff to this game. There's like whole new gameplay mechanics and whatnot that really sort of expand upon it. Of course, there's new items, new things that you can do in the game, so I feel like it's a good DLC value. I just don't like how it's sort of attached to the Nintendo Switch Online DLC expansion pack, unless they're going to be doing more expansion packs for free with the Nintendo Switch. If you're an Animal Crossing fan, you're probably already very well aware of this, but just in case you weren't, this DLC hits on November 5th. On November 11th, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic hits the Nintendo Switch, and this is a game that I think will do really well on the system, pending that it runs good, because I think that's really what it boils down to with this game, is the performance of it. Now, if you've never played this game, it's essentially an action RPG set in a Star Wars universe with an original story and lots of callbacks to other Star Wars games. It's a game where you could do a lot of different things. It almost has like a Fallout feel to it in the exploration, in the different adventures that you take on. There's a bunch of different gameplay mechanics that you come across in the game as well, and of course you're constantly leveling up your Jedi to make them stronger, or maybe you go to the dark side and you do something with them, because there is a meter system based on Jedi and dark side stuff. I originally played this game on the Xbox and I definitely really enjoyed it, but it's been a long time, so I think I'm ready to visit KOTOR again and see what this game has to offer, and maybe just play it in a different style. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic hits the Nintendo Switch on November 11th. Also on November 11th, the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy hits the Nintendo Switch, consisting of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. What more can you say about this? This is going to be awesome. I don't care what anyone says. I don't like the graphics. The graphics they don't look all that great. Shut up. Like, just stop it. Like, yes, they could have redone the games all individually and they could have built them from the ground up, but then you'd be paying $60 to $70 for these games and they probably wouldn't even come to the Nintendo Switch anyways. I will gladly pay my $60 to get 3 of the greatest sandbox games of all time, and I'm really curious though, how's that soundtrack gonna come out? Did you manage to get most of the music? Because when it comes to Vice City, like, that's one of the best soundtracks of all time. The Grand Theft Auto Trilogy hits the Nintendo Switch on November 11th. A physical edition will come out in December that looks like it's going to be published by Nintendo, so buy this game one way or another, because I'll be buying it 2 ways. On November 12th, a huge RPG exclusive to the Nintendo Switch with Shin Megami Tensei 5 will be coming out, and this is a game that the more I've seen from it, the more I've actually become interested in it. Now, I'm not the biggest Shin Megami Tensei fan, or by extension Persona fan, so I'm probably not the best person to talk about this game. I played one Shin Megami Tensei game before, I don't remember what it was, and I played one on the DS that I kind of enjoyed, but this game is really cool. You battle different characters, you get the demons that you can then use in battle. I think the graphics look really nice. It's probably a very deep and dark story, as most of these RPGs in the Shin Megami Tensei series have. A lot of mature themes going on, a lot of, sort of stuff that you probably can't say on YouTube, but this is a game that I've gone from little interest in to very interested in, so I will end up checking out Shin Megami Tensei 5 for you guys. This game comes out on November 12th and is probably one of the most anticipated games of the month. Also on November 12th is Nerf Legends. Now, stop laughing, because this game looks super decent. It has a single player mode, it has 4v4 online, it has 8-player deathmatch. Like, look at this game. It looks kind of like Overwatch, I think, but like, it's Nerf. It's Nerf or nothing. I literally know nothing about this game. I was just researching games for this list. I came across this game and I watched the trailer and I was like, yo, this looks mad decent, man. Like, I kind of want to play it because I'm a sucker for first-person shooters. Nerf Legends, November 12th. Get in or get out. It's Nerf or nothing. Marsupilami HCboob Adventure, not Boob Adventure, HCboob, comes out on November 16th, and this evidently was a cartoon. I vaguely remember it, but I believe I wasn't watching cartoons when this came out. But for some reason, a new 2D platformer is coming out with this game, and Well, it looks really good. It looks like a Donkey Kong Country style game for the modern Donkey Kong Country 2D platformers, and like it looks decent. Like it looks mad decent once again. You know, obviously there's a lot of 2D platformers on the Switch, but this one seems to have a high level of polish and could end up being a really fun game. I'm not really familiar with the Marsupilami, like I said, but hey, maybe I'll check out his HCboob adventure on November 16th. On November 19th, we have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I don't really need to spend too much time on this. Obviously, based on the Game Boy Advance games with some modern enhancements done for the Nintendo Switch. If you're a Pokemon fan, you're probably very excited for this. As a more casual Pokemon fan, I will be skipping this one as I have no nostalgia for these two original games, but if you do, you're probably younger than me and, you know, get off my lawn. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, November 19th. Also on November 19th, we have NASCAR Heat Ultimate Edition Plus coming out on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I went to a NASCAR race once when I was like 11 or 12, and it was honestly one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Like, you peed on a wall in the bathroom, and like every redneck there was very, very drunk, but it was a learning experience. You know, you got to see a different side of society, and low-key, I do like NASCAR games. For some reason, I own NASCAR 98 on the Sega Saturn, and it had that Molly Hatchet song, I'm driving down the road, I'm flirting with disaster, and like that song bangs. I don't know anything about NASCAR Heat Ultimate Edition, but for some reason I'm always drawn to NASCAR, so I might be checking it out on November 19th. Let's go, Brandon. On November 30th, Beyond a Steel Sky comes out, and what is this game? This game looks really good. Now, evidently, it's based on a point-and-click adventure game. It's the sequel to a point-and-click adventure game that came out in the mid-90s, but this graphical style, this is kind of hitting with me. I like what I'm seeing here. Of course, it still is an adventure game, and so you're doing things like solving puzzles, hacking systems, doing things, trying to figure out what's going on in this world. As a child was abducted in a brutal attack, and you're basically going to this place called Union City to bring this child home. I think this game could be a huge sleeper hit. I really like the visual style of this game, and while I'm not the biggest, slower paced adventure game fan in the world, I think this game looks really cool, and I like cool looking games. Beyond a Steel Sky comes out on November 30th. And the final game is Wreckfest. Now, this game has a tentative November release. I don't really know anything beyond that. It doesn't have a concrete release date yet. We obviously saw this in a Nintendo Direct, and Wreckfest looks great. It reminds me of Destruction Derby. Now, if you didn't play Destruction Derby on the PlayStation 1, like, what are you doing with your life? Those games were just awesome. They were racing games, but you were crashing into people. They had like the arena mode where it was just like a big circle and you just ram into people. I love, just hitting runs and stuff like that. From a legal perspective in video game format, not in real life. But Wreckfest is definitely a game I want to check out, and it comes out hopefully in the month of November. So those are 15 awesome Nintendo Switch games that we are getting in the month of November, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff on this list that I'm buying. So let me know in the comments section down below what you'll be snagging, and as always guys, thank you for checking out this video. Huge thank you to Satisfy once again for sponsoring this video. Make sure you guys check out the link in the description box down below to get your Zen Grip Pro 3, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.